Merry Christmas, everybody. Today is Friday, so I hope you are wearing red or have something red or grab a red cup, have a red drink because we remember everyone deployed on Fridays. Thank you to all of our servicemen and women. And there are only two, not genders, but sexes. So that's who we say thank you to. And I'll be right back with my buddy Westwood. And we're having a Merry Christmas happy hour shit show today. So, oh gosh, I got removed again on another stream. You can't make this stuff up. Merry Christmas, Westwood. I hear this is our last normal one.
Oh yeah.
So,
Well,
welcome
that
to
could
the
be.
new normal.
Happy Yuletide.
Yuletide. Yes, you were talking about the Yule log, and I had heard that that was
Yeah.
a tradition or a thing to do was burning the Yule log on solstice.
Yes.
So
Yes.
I didn't have a Yule log, but I had a big roaring fire going. So
That works.
yeah.
Or, nowadays you can just put the Yule log on YouTube and watch the Yule log in someone else's fireplace over and over again.
It may be AI. It may not even be a fire.
It might not even be a real Yule log.
Might not. Your sound is epic today, by the way.
It is? Sounds okay.
You did something.
Well, I made sure it was on voice isolation. You have that option in iPhone. So when you do that, like on Spaces, I'll put it on wide spectrum when I open it up with the song that I'm playing for the day, and then I'll put it on voice isolation and I have it on speaker, and it picks it up pretty well, I think.
Yeah, it's good. Did you do that last night on
I don't. Sometimes it doesn't let me do it. I don't know. It's weird. It might be the app that if I use the StreamYard app versus the browser. I mean, I think the phone's. I don't know. It doesn't always give me the option, so that's why it doesn't. It's not always good.
Hey, Johnny Midas is in the chat. We haven't seen him in a while.
Johnny Midas from the warm, sunny desert of California.
Let's see you. Tom's here. Letha D, we haven't seen her in a while either. Good to see her. She's a fellow Patreon of Jenny Moonstones. I saw Jenny saying hi to her the other day.
I was gonna mention Jenny Moonstone. I watched her yesterday. She had a impromptu.
I'm behind on my Jenny Moonstone recordings. She does hers in the morning, and I am just not a morning person.
Really?
You know that about me.
First time I met you, I realized it. I'm like, hey, you might need to leave because there's an event we need to get to. And you're just like, Lisa gets ready faster than any woman I've ever seen, though. She's just like,
yeah, it doesn't take much to get
she's
this.
Like, she's out.
Mm-hmm.
All right, we're good.
Yeah.
It's fast and lady.
Brush my hair, put a little makeup on, I'm out the door.
Yes.
Oh my gosh. Yeah. Where should we start with the shit show?
At the beginning.
At the beginning.
Yeah,
I was watching the UN meeting today. What an embarrassment.
I didn't see it. Fill me in.
What an embarrassment the United States is. And I say that that hurts my heart.
The corporation.
The corporation, the decisions that the corporation is making, because America, yes. We the people are amazing, and I love our America, we the people. But the corporation is a effing disaster and a bully in this world and universe, and they're disgusting and shameful. And I was just like, the entire world is being represented there. They're talking about acts against humans, crimes against humanity, lives, and the whole world is talking about they just want a ceasefire. Just stop the killing. That's all they want, is please stop the killing, and let's.
There's no money in that. Unless you're the Undertakers, I guess there's money to be made.
The only country that didn't want to stop the killing was the corporation of the United States. I was just It was an embarrassment.
It's the
And
same old song. And then we've got the next iteration of it, the war whore. Thank you, Daddy O, for helping me coin that. The war whore, Nikki Haley, Chandra, whatever her name is. I cannot believe I listened to her. I mean, I retweeted it, I think. I mean, she had a little speech at one of her little meetings, little pep rallies that she goes to
mhm,
in one of the states she's campaigning in. It was unbelievable. She's trying to tie in Israel was invaded October 7th. That's Putin's birthday. What a great present. And if you don't think the two are intertwined, and I'm just like, this is like massive, crazy conspiracy theory stuff. I mean, they used to call Alex Jones a conspiracy theorist. I mean, the stuff she's trying to put out there, I mean, she is obviously completely owned by the military industrial complex. This is their candidate.
wow, yeah.
Unbelievable.
I
But
don't know if
this
I
is,
can
do you want
find
that representing America? I mean,
no.
she made the excuse that it was well, if the money that we would send to Ukraine and Israel is only 5% of our budget,
It's
defense budget,
not
defense
about that.
budget. It's not no, it's not the principle. It's like it's only 5% grift that we can skim off and I can make money and my husband can make money off. I mean, it's just like, but look how big the defense budget is, which should be called offense since 1984.
Right.
It's the defense budget. No, it's the offense budget. It's the Department of War. It's not the Department of Defense because we don't defend anything here. We got open borders. Anyway, I got a little off. I was going back to Halloween, with the witch up here. Made me think of her.
Scare the crap out of me. Um, yeah, she is a witch. That is horrible. I know there's a huge. I ran across this map, or maybe I saw a video. I'm not really sure, but I have this image in my head where someone had done some research about there's huge oil reserves under Gaza.
Oh,
Um,
imagine, and right off the coast too.
and right off the coast.
Oh,
And
perfect.
that is more about what is going on with this. Because a lot of this is about resources. They don't value human life,
Energy. They want your energy.
energy. Yeah.
Energy. It's all about energy. That's what they want. Whether
Yeah.
it be your life, your spirit, your soul, whatever you want to call it, gas, natural gas, oil. All about energy. That's what they want. They want to control it all. They want it all.
There was something else you said that was going to lead me into something else. Um, you were talking about Nikki Haley
War.
and the war stuff. Oh gosh, there was another point that came up today that I was going to talk about. I forgot. There's so much. There's just oh well, Vivek was no, maybe I already did. We talk? Was that the last week or this week where he like ripped into her at the
Yeah, he did. It did wait.
at the debate, and he was like, you know what? I'm not gonna let you pull this. I'm a girl, so you're not gonna be challenged thing. And
Right.
she was like totally pouting and whatever.
Right. Yeah. Lord. Yeah. Oh,
And he was like, she sent your children to die.
yeah.
She should be held accountable for this, And it's crazy to me that
Vivek's part of the screenplay. I mean, he really is
he's
dropping great
exposing stuff.
information. He is.
Mhm.
He really is. That nobody else is willing to go to that depth to where he's just like, that's the way it is. I'm tying it all together. F you if you don't believe it. This is the way it is.
Mhm.
And he can deliver that message because he's very intelligent. And so I love that he's putting it out there and just putting it out there so people are like, I wonder if he's right about that. Maybe he is. Or it validates everybody. It's like, yeah, no kidding. About time somebody said something.
Yeah, and I feel like we say it, and a lot of people, in our chat say it, like, but it is validating when you see, and like the normies or
Yeah.
somebody on TV finally saying it, or they say it like
With passion.
when the FBI finally came out and admitted Pizzagate, you
Mhm.
know, and it was like, oh, vindication. But by then, all the people that were saying it wasn't true had forgotten about it. And they were
Yeah.
done defending it and saying it's not true and it wasn't news anymore. Um,
It just goes on because people you're inundated with so much data that you can't, I thought about this the other day and guess what? I can't remember what I was thinking about, how it applied
mm,
because there's so much data. And it's just like, where's Dr. Fauci?
yeah.
I mean, there's a perfect example. It's like,
Watch
shouldn't
anything
shouldn't he
going
be on
on.
trial right now? I mean, shouldn't he? I mean,
Watch anything going on in the House or the Senate. There's like two people there.
I know nobody watching. They're
Where
all
are
out.
they?
They're they're in the Senate staff room. No matter what a senator tells you, there is no sex in the Senate staff room. I'm just sorry.
Yeah, that's weird too. I mean, all of that is like, I don't know. I don't I don't
It's
understand.
insane.
It
I
is
mean, it's
insane.
insane. I mean, it's all about. It really is. It's all about the money. It's all about the lobbying.
Mhm.
It's all about just the dinners, and the cars, and the dates, and the parties, and then you think about it. You get elected. You're one of 435 people in the House of Representatives. You come from a state, in a territory, a little area, and then you go there, and it's like, hey, buddy, oh yeah, man, their suits walking up to you, say, hey, there's this party, hey, there's this dinner, why don't you come on, and they just indoctrinate you and inundate you, and pretty soon you get insulated. That's why there's more sociopaths, I think, in Washington D.C. than anywhere else in the world.
Mhm.
But you get insulated, and pretty soon, I mean, you take on that mentality of, you know what, I kind of am better than them. You know, I really am. And, so why is it that, I need to suffer on whatever it is they make $180,000 a year, which that's nothing. Why shouldn't I become a millionaire? I kind of deserve it, don't I? I'm doing all this work. All these people, they really don't deserve it. And so you slowly get wrapped up into that and into thinking that you're better than someone else because you're elite. If you're a senator, you're one of 100.
Mhm.
So you really start thinking that you are truly better than them and you do deserve it, and you take on that Darwinian mindset, which is all BS to begin with, survival of the fittest crap. I mean, that's not what a republic is. I mean, hello. But that's, you kind of get into that mindset, and slowly you change and evolve, just like we all change, all the influences, and pretty soon you're corrupt and don't know it. You're that frog that slowly, got corrupted instead of boiled. And it takes a special person to go there and try and change things, and you see them, but look at the frustration they have. It's just so big because everybody's working against you, all this money and all the businesses and lobbyists and all the the military companies and the medical companies and the revolving door of all these people that used to be CEOs, and now the president comes in, oh, you're the new FDA chairman, and it's like, what the F are you doing? Why are you putting this guy in? You're just contributing to the problem. And it's so huge.
But the
And
fact
so
that we
you're,
didn't have an FDA or
oh,
an
you shouldn't have a Department of Education. The
EPA or
FDA,
a Department
go
of
watch,
Education, yeah, any of
yeah,
that
go watch
is
a movie called The Bleeding Edge. If you haven't seen that, I think it's on Netflix or something. The Bleeding Edge. It talks about medical equipment and the process
Mhm.
that goes through the
Mhm.
FDA, and how they're like, okay, they approve everything. And it turns out that a lot of people get hurt, and
Well, Dr.
kills them.
McDaniel talks every other Wednesday. Dr. McDaniel comes on my show and we talk about New Eden and the nutrition, the micronutrition, and he talks about his story. Like he was almost put in jail.
Oh,
He was being investigated by the attorney general, and because he had done the testing for the Dallas Buyers Club, the Cowboys that got
right.
AIDS,
Mhm.
and because he didn't believe them, they were drinking aloe vera juice and they were healing their gut, and he was like, look, I'll test your blood because I'm not afraid of you because I know how to
Yeah.
handle blood, but I don't believe you that you're healing yourselves. And so, but nobody would, because this was back in the 80s, everyone's terrified of AIDS.
Well, yeah,
And
they didn't know what
so
it was. Like,
he did the testing, and he could see that they were healing not themselves from AIDS necessarily as much as
right.
from their organs. And I don't remember
Because it's
all
an
of it.
immunity deficiency. I mean,
Yes, and
acquired
so
immune
and their body
deficiency
was
order
so
is a
their body
syndrome.
was healing themselves and they were rebuilding stem cells
Right.
and all this. Anyway, but he had to show all the research that he did. It was 3 days of him being like what's it called, deposed, and
Grilled.
at the end of it, she goes, "Okay." And she folds up her thing, and he goes, "Okay, so I get to move forward with making my product, bringing it to market and making it a drug for people to help heal people." And she's like, "No, you're just not going to jail."
Yeah.
And they were like, and she's like, "What?" And so then when they found out going through the FDA process, and he explains it in several of the videos, you have to have what's called the lethal dose. And that's where 50% of your test subjects pass away, die. So the animals you're testing on, 50% of them die. You have to come up with a dose that 50% of the animals
Yeah.
die.
And everything
Then,
under it's good.
yeah.
Up to that point, bad.
And
After that,
then you have to come up with the amount, the dose that 100% die for any drug to be approved by the FDA. So every single pharmaceutical on the market right now
it's a death pill.
is a poison.
Yeah.
At some, or it cannot be approved.
At some level.
At
It's
some
got to be
level.
poisonous.
That should scare the hell out of everyone.
Ask your doctor if it's right for you. As the doctor
Yeah,
gets a
ask your
kickback.
doctor if
As
it's
your
right
doctor
for
gets
you.
kickbacks. And I mean, from the
Yeah.
pharmaceutical companies for prescribing more or using a product more. I mean, it's a vampire casino. It really is. I mean, you play in it, you play by their rules, and it's like, or else you don't get to play. You don't get to
Well,
play. You don't need to come. You don't get to come to market because it's our market. So, you know,
and the
play ball,
doctors
get
that
rich,
sold
or
out for
go home and be
money,
poor.
they should, just like the politicians, like
Nuremberg.
we are seeing it. I was asking you before we got started, like how much more, what other, because we are seeing some things being revealed. There was a raid on wasn't Monsanto, it was one of the drug companies, and they found a huge batch of jabs refrigerated, expired. They found logs and documents of them delivered expired, and that they were distributed expired, and all
People were
that.
begging to get it.
Yeah.
Please
And
line up in your
so,
cars.
yeah, all of that's going to be, or is starting to be exposed. Then there's all these studies where I don't know if people know this, but the Amish are one of the most uh, studied groups by the government because they don't live by the government's rules, and they are unvaccinated, and they cannot find a uh, autistic child in the Amish community.
I saw that. You know, what was it? I don't know how much truth there is to it, but I did see something like that to where they cannot find an autistic person who has not been pricked.
Yes, I heard that too.
Well, think about that. Now, this causation effect, all that stuff. I mean, you know, it's like, but I
What are
mean,
the
how many
odds?
coincidences are there?
What
You
are the
know,
odds?
just find me one.
Yeah,
Just
at
find
what
one.
point is it a mathematical
Right. What?
impossibility? Yeah. Anyway, just very interesting. So I think, that's being exposed. There's nurse whistleblowers that are coming out. This one nurse, I was listening to her today, and she said that she's sitting in, the rooms or the nursing stations, and they're like, okay, we've got these preemies. We're going to have to do, this, and this on them.
Mhm.
And so they call the NICU or the ICU or the PICU, and they are like, get ready. Do you know, because we're going to do these things, and they're going to have trouble breathing. They're going to have this, they're going to have that. Do you have all the whatever ready? They know it's going to happen.
But Lisa, stop. The benefits outweigh the costs. And that's always their excuse, ultimately. First of all, you can't sue us, because thank you, Ronald Reagan, for signing that into legislation like 1986 when you were senile and they couldn't kill you. And so they
Yeah,
figured they'd get
after
what they
they
can out of you.
shot him. Yeah.
Yeah. So, but I mean, but it's there. They have immunity. The irony of it, the vaccine companies have immunity, from all the stuff that they put in there. It's like, well, it wasn't me, that attitude. But they can do whatever they want. And that's what they ultimately come down to is, well, yeah, people have died. People have been impaired, all this and that. But the benefits outweigh the costs. It's the bigger picture you need to look at. It's the communist view of things to where
It
it's like,
is
it's
very
for the greater good.
communist. It's very communist. And
It
it's
is,
also
because that's what they
counter
are. They're totalitarianists.
it's counter intuitive to what their point is. If they're saying it works, then it wouldn't matter if someone didn't get it. Then that wouldn't hurt the people that chose to,
Right.
because they would be protected because they chose to.
Exactly. So if I'm
None of that has ever
unvaccinated
made sense to me.
and I go into a whole, I'm the only one, on a college campus, let's say, I go down there and I have no pricks in the arm. I have no immunity, I don't have any,
Right.
these things to build the immunity. And then there's an outbreak. They're so worried about me. No, they're not going to worry
Right.
about me. Nobody else should be able to get it, right? If I get it, I should be the only one that gets it because I'm not immune to it. I didn't get the prick in the arm.
Mm-hmm.
So why are they worried about this? Because you're all safe. Y'all good. Y'all good. Right? No, they worry about you. You're the problem. You need to be with us. If you're not with us, you're against us. And that's the mentality.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so where's that come from?
It's completely insane. Yeah.
Vampires everywhere. They rule it all. Vampires. But the thing is, vampires are weak. All you got to do is withdraw your energy, and they go, they're it. That's it. Done. Just quit playing the game.
Yeah.
Hard to do. I know. I get it. Oh, Westwood says, just quit playing in the vampire casino. Well, you got to start doing it, though. Otherwise, you're just going to keep on grinding through it, and they're going to keep churning you up. And, you didn't do anything with your life, and then you're going to live a life of regret. And on your deathbed, you're going to say, well, I should have probably done something, but I didn't do it. Don't be that guy.
Don't be that guy. But I think that's where a lot of people, I'm seeing a lot of or people are sharing a lot of I'm not on TikTok, but I see people share TikTok things where people are fed up.
Yeah, there's a lot of good information that does come out on that because
they're saying enough.
People get it.
And I think that's, I think that's kind of where people are. So they're just fed up. They're ready to stand up. And I think it's going to have to be when people are ready to do it for themselves. And not, I think people waited for the savior, waited for Trump to come back, waited for the military to save them, waited for somebody else to do the heavy lifting for them.
Who comprises the military? It's us. It's the people. Who comprises anybody who can fix things? It's us. We're the ones that are going to do it. If you're waiting for the military to save you, we have a militia. It's built into the Constitution, and the militia is us. When it's time to do what you need to do, we do it. I'm not saying that you go and start some kind of stupid shooting war. No, that's not it. All you got to do,
there's no
you
reason for violence.
We the collective. I mean, we the people, we everybody are the ones that give everything power and allow anything to run and allow anything to happen. And so if we just say, okay, we're not going to do this, but we're going to do this, what are you going to do about it? What are you going to do?
Make other choices.
Yeah. That's all you gotta do. Just choose wisely. Indiana Jones thing, what is it? Choose wisely. You're looking for the grail, you got all the fancy grails, well, which one would a carpenter use? Probably not the fancy one. Which one would Jesus use? Probably the one that's just very basic and functional. And that's the one he picks. Choose wisely.
My fancy grail. It's a little gaudy, but it is Murano glass.
I got this one.
I got this one.
It's like the fanciest thing I have other than my daughter's.
Yeah. This was my find this week. I was like, I'm going to show them one of my finds. So this is a Murano glass. It's a very bougie.
It is bougie.
It's not my style necessarily, but a pair of these sold. The last two sales, one was for $350 or three. Oh, now I have to go look. 3 something, and then another pair sold for $400, but I only have one. So, no, 600 and 800. So this, I was thinking, will be either $300 or $400 for this one. But then I'm like, since just one of them, I don't know if just one would sell as well.
Probably $200.
I think I'll list it, $250, $300, and then see where it goes from there. But.
That's awesome. I want to be able to make my lunch in the Michael Jackson lunchbox.
It's not a lunchbox. It's a record player.
Oh, is it? It looks like a lunchbox.
Record player.
Well, that's the size of the lunchbox I need, though.
You have to read the description or open the pictures all the way.
I probably didn't do that.
It is a Michael Jackson, record player, and there are none for sale online. There's actually a listing of this music website thing, and they've got a picture of one and a request that says something like enter here if you have any available or something like this. I was like, what?
Does it have like dates on it, or I didn't click through? I should
It's
have.
from 19, I think it's from 1984.
No way. It's like the
Yeah.
Thriller era.
Yeah. Hmm.
I'm telling you what, that's probably worth what you got listed on. Probably worth more than that.
Oh no, the last one that sold
Yeah,
was worth more than that.
yeah, because
I
it
listed
looked
it a
like it was
little
in good
bit
shape.
lower. Hmm.
Oh
Yeah.
man, I remember the old record players in the suitcase. I had one that was like orange and it had like the brass, corners on it, like
Mm.
luggage. And I'd open it up.
Mm.
There's like this white plastic thing with the plastic. Oh, I was so disappointed when it didn't work anymore. And I was a little kid, so I guess I was play my little records on it,
Yeah, all the
carry it around
things.
the suitcase, and
All the things. So, okay, we had another crazy sale happen. So we're at this lady's house, and we end up doing one of what's called a bag sale. So at the end of the sale, we have these friends that own a estate sale company, and they're like, "Look, just come in, fill a paper bag, $20, fill it as much as you can shove in the bag." So we're like, "Oh yeah." So we just start
I'd put a little
pulling
piece of
things.
cardboard at the bottom to reinforce it so you
That
can
would
put
be a
more.
good idea. Yeah.
Yeah,
Charlie is really good. Like, he was probably a good at, like,
fit,
Jenga or, like,
fitting it in there
yeah,
pieces. Yeah,
Legos or something. He's very good
yeah.
at packing. So I run around the house and pick things, and
Put
he
it in the bag. Make it
packs.
work.
Yeah. And, and so so there was these pianos, which I was like, "Those are, like, I don't know, vintage miniature, like, dollhouse pianos." Like, I don't want that crap. I don't know. One of them had, like, a little glue mark on the top, and then they had these stickers that said Liberace on it, and I was like, "It's like a mimic of Liberace's piano." Like, who wants that crap? I don't know. So
Search
we
it up.
we bring them home, and they stay out in the garage because, like, one of them, it's a music box, but it's overwound, so eventually he gets to it and, like, loosens it up and oils it or does whatever, makes it play again. Then we put them somewhere in the house, and then just the other day, we've had him for, like, 2 months, I think, and just the other day, he finally, like, takes pictures of them. I list them. Within an hour and a half, I get this guy frantically emailing or messaging me, um, I can't remember what his first thing was. He was asking me questions about it. It was like 12:30 or 1 o'clock at night. I'm asleep. I'm not answering him about the Liberace,
Oh, he
whatever.
needs to know. He wants it if he's,
Oh
yeah.
my gosh. He went ahead and bought it. He's like, "Never mind, I bought it anyway. Do you have anything else that is Liberace?" And I'm like, so I wake up the next morning, I was like, "That damn piano sold last night." And this guy has got like messages to me. And so I'm telling Charlie, and I was like, "So do I let him have first dibs on the other one we've got? Like, I probably should. And I should not gouge him. Like,
Right. If you do it offline, then then you can make a peer to
well, and
peer
I probably
transaction or
should have done
something.
that, but I didn't want to screw eBay either. I don't know why I feel loyal to them. But
I think they're
um,
based in San Francisco. So, why not?
I don't know. But so we kind of talked about it, and he's like, "Oh, I mean, could I?" And I was like,
Haggle.
so then he's giving me some sob story, and he's like, "But I can only give this unless you have more stuff from
Oh,
Liberace."
come
Then he
on.
has more money after that. So I'm like, "Dude, I could look. I'm not. Uh, I said, "You have till I'll." And then I said, "I'm gonna post it." He goes, "Please do not put Liberace or very much description on it."
Oh, so
He's
you're like
so worried
capital
somebody else is gonna
Liberace
get it.
hashtag.
After he's told me it might not be really Liberace's. He knows
Dude,
damn well it is.
he
He
knows what it is.
recognized the auction sticker, from it. So he knows damn well it is. He's trying to talk me out of it.
Liberace.
So I probably coulda got twice that or more. But anyway, I know he was thrilled. I made, I think we paid probably $1 for each of those and made 250 on each one of them. So, you know what? He's happy, I'm happy,
All right, let me just
everybody's
correct you.
happy.
You made 250 sats on that, right? Not dollars.
Well, how would
You really kind
how
of
much
lost
sense would that
money,
be?
right? On that.
Well, I will have lost it in a boating accident tomorrow.
Yeah, I'm just saying you probably didn't. Yeah, you probably made 250 sats on that instead of
Maybe. Yeah,
something other.
I don't know. I can't find my keys anywhere, so
Yeah.
Um,
That's what I mean, what you're doing is crazy. I mean, you're finding things of value that everybody else wants to throw away. It's
yeah,
just like America. Hey, U.S. steel has no value. Oh, so the Japanese come by it.
yeah.
I mean,
I am really sad Panasonic decided not to take, which this was very telling for me. There was an opportunity for Panasonic to come to Oklahoma, and Oklahoma was going to give them $400 million.
the state was going to give that
The state was giving them that, plus
real
the
money.
facility, and all these employees, whatever, whatever.
Well, yeah,
Huge manufacturing opportunity. We're right on this river that goes right down to the Gulf. There's a Kerr Lock and Dam system all the way
yeah.
to
So they can transport their goods.
and
Infrastructure's
transport it,
there.
all of it. And they said, no thanks.
Well, where
The
did they
US
go?
dollar cannot buy shit anymore, you guys.
Where did they end up going? Did they make a
I don't
decision
know
where they're
yet. I don't think the decision's been made yet. So I just know they told Oklahoma to pound sand, and that is not good for Oklahoma.
okay.
So I'm a little sad about that.
Hmm. Yeah, I don't know.
We'll have to figure it out.
Yeah, I guess that's what you do.
Hmm. So Paycom's hiring if anybody needs a job in Oklahoma.
Speaking of Oklahoma and jurisdiction, with
Yes.
that with that tweet that you or that message that you put out, with the sheriff's department
There was
going
a
against the
standoff.
yes, there was a standoff between
Mhm. At the
two forces,
Was
and
it
the
at the Oklahoma
jurisdiction.
County Sheriff's
It was
Office?
it was a I don't remember what the county is. I can't pronounce any of those counties in Oklahoma, but
Well, they're
there
all
was a
Indian.
Peoria is the most I can get as far as native.
Okay.
But there's Ojibwe. I know that one. Um, but there was a guard at the prison, the county jail.
Mhm,
Okay, there's a guard there that worked there,
mhm.
and it was whatever county it was in Oklahoma,
Yeah.
and he had done something to someone.
He got caught with he got in a fight, and then he got caught with fentanyl on tribal land, but he
Okay,
was not tribal.
right, but it was on tribal land, and
Yes.
so what happened is the tribal police force goes to the county,
Jail.
jail where this guy works and tries to serve him. It's like, hey, you're
Try
going
to
to get
arrest him.
served. Yeah, basically. And then the sheriff's department said, you have no jurisdiction here. And so there's a standoff. And so they're like, no, this guy needs to be served. And so it really gets in the reporting. I watched the news, the local news reporting it, and they're all like, well, this person says he has jurisdiction. This one says he has, and they don't have rights to do this and that. And I'm like, this is the discussion we need to have. I
Everyone's
mean,
very confused.
yes, but that's the discussion we need to have because,
Mhm.
is it who has, and it comes down to your rights and understanding your rights and understanding, and jurisdiction is so important because that's how they get you. And this whole artificial schema. They drag you into court because, well, where do you live? Where's your residence? Oh, it's in that county. Okay, that court has jurisdiction. They bring you in. But if they can't establish jurisdiction of who you are, where you live, it really puts the whole system that we've come to believe in, law and order, bum bum, it screws all that up. And this is a perfect real life example of they don't know how to handle it because, and it tells you there are certain people who have power over you, supposedly, depending upon certain circumstances. And so you would think it'd be clean cut. Oh, this guy committed a crime. Okay, cool. No, it's not that clean cut.
Mhm.
You got to understand that though, because when you start digging into who you are as far as a citizen versus a sovereign versus a national and all these things and who has jurisdiction over you, and it's like if you live in a motorhome, you don't have a permanent address. Okay, how does somebody come after you and serve papers on you for whatever thing that they need to serve you for because there's no residence? Because if they serve papers on you, you have to basically be a resident somewhere that you've declared. If you don't declare that, who has control over you? And should they have control over you? Maybe they shouldn't. But the only reason they do is because you've said that, yes, I am part of this county or I am part of this.
I
And so
stand
it
on the
really,
how do they say it? From the land of, or something like that, or I
yeah,
stand
that's it. I'm a sojourn in the land of,
in the land of.
known as Illinois. or
Mhm.
something like that.
Yeah.
But it gets back to, what your rights are. Are you a sovereign being? Are you free or not? It's a good. I liked that article because people are like, I don't know, somebody's got to have jurisdiction, and then
I
you see
think
the court cases go to the Supreme Court and like, well, you don't have standing, so you can't bring it. It's like, what do you mean you don't have standing? Well, you don't have standing. What's that
that's
mean?
that's
Standing where?
where
Do I need to be standing to have standing?
that's where all of those, cases when Trump was people kept saying he lost, he lost, he lost. He didn't lose. The court just realized it's not appropriate for them to hear that case because
Right. We
it
don't have
didn't have
jurisdiction
standing
over it.
or
We're like,
jurisdiction to
eh,
have that the court didn't have
right.
jurisdiction to hear that case
Those are lessons.
in that. Yeah.
And I get it.
Um,
There's so much information. It's hard to
it
keep
is.
up with all this,
But we
but
have to learn. That's where, like,
we
we
have
don't get to
to.
be dumb children anymore. We gotta grow the F up and be adults. Um,
It's
so
no different than, okay, think about it this way. Think of the wild, wild west. Here you are staking your claim in Oklahoma, and somebody rides up to you and says, hey, I'm the boss around here. I'm the sheriff around here. It's like, okay, so you're the sheriff of this county. Well, I'm a sheriff of the neighboring county. And you're like, get out of here. You don't have any jurisdiction here. And I'll shoot you if you're going to try and do something on my property. And so it was a different mindset then because they kind of understood that no, you don't belong here. And then you bring out, U.S. federal people, that, well, I got jurisdiction all over the place. But it was just that it's a different way of thinking back then because it's like, no, you don't have any right to be here. This is my property. I don't know.
no, you're right, and, they just today, let's see, the Supreme Court has denied special counsel Smith's inquest for, expedited so what does it say? Review of the case against Trump, and that was a jurisdiction issue, and it tied in with the, um oh, wait, maybe those are 2 separate things. There was another one about the non-resident aliens in Delta. Delta is getting called out. That's another thing that's being exposed as the airlines. And thank you, babe. And the CEO of Delta was being called out for having these deals with the government or getting kickbacks or something. They have been some girl was doing a rant on social media. She got off the plane because she was in a plane full of illegal immigrants. And she's
And
like,
she says, these mother are not real. These are not real Americans.
I don't know about that. But she was like, look, I'm paying for my seat, and all these people their seats are being paid for by my tax dollars.
And they all got cell phones and they got earpieces and they got
And they're
debit
all
cards.
non-resident aliens. Did you
Yeah.
know
And so
that?
they get all the benefits.
Yeah. And so once again, I'm saying it again, I believe we all need to become non-resident aliens of the
Mhm.
corporation. We need to be the alien invasion. I think that's what needs to happen.
And there's a lot of truth to that when you start looking at it. It's just how do you go about it? Because we've kind of entrenched ourselves since birth
The
with birth
same way they
certificates and all
do.
that. Yeah, I mean, and that's basically it. You just say, okay, that's it, I'm done. I will own nothing and I will be happy.
Yeah.
I'm gonna
They
I'm gonna
don't
dissolve myself, my
no
name from
English. If
everything.
somebody if I get a letter from this,
That's not me.
I get a letter from that. No
No,
English.
that's not me. I
Mhm.
know. I know.
I
I
don't know.
know. Yeah.
I
Yeah.
don't
I
know.
mean, because really, I love how I hear people say, well, I keep harping on the solar panel thing. I'm sorry about that. But I mean, there is a 30% tax credit until the federal level, if you install solar panels, because they want to incentivize it, Inflation Reduction Act.
I'm just so mad about the whole thing.
And so basically what they do is they'll give you a 30% discount. And I remember talking to one guy, or
Of
they'll give
them
you
stealing
30% back.
40% of your income?
Yeah,
That's so
exactly.
nice of them. That's so big of
And
them.
that's what he said, though. He's like, well, you're
That's so
paying
big
for
of
it. You
them.
might as well take the discount. And I said, I ain't paying for it. We're not paying for it. They just print the money. The tax money doesn't pay for anything. And he's like,
Mhm.
kind of eyes rolling back in the back of his head. And it's like, they're
He's
just
like,
print
but
the
that's what
money.
I was told to tell you.
Yeah, exactly. It's not our tax money that pays for it. That pays for all the, the foreign
Mhm.
people that own the freaking Fed. I mean, the tax money doesn't pay for anything. We already know next year they're going to they're going to create $1 trillion more dollars.
Mhm.
And this was without any accidents, without any, foreign wars that pop up accidentally.
Mhm.
Um, $1 trillion more dollars just to like be, maintain the level. We got to go into debt $1 trillion more. They're going to create it out of nothing. It's not going to be more taxes. They're going to create it out of nothing. The Fed's going to print it. They're going to create it. Okay, so it's not our tax dollars paying for anything anymore. They don't need our tax dollars, but they like it when we pay it because we're good little slaves.
Mhm. Yeah, and Silver Gem says supposedly the illegals can use their arrest warrant as their identification to get through
Perfect.
security. So I get assaulted, felt up,
Yes.
hauled to the side, all my
Yes.
shit dug through.
Yes.
But the illegals, they
Come
just show their
on
arrest
down.
warrant and come on through.
Come
Come
on
on
down.
in.
Get your pet spayed and neutered. Come
And
on
we'll
down.
even pay for your ticket. Would you like some peanuts or a
Yeah.
drink?
Cracker Jacks. Got a
Cracker?
prize in it.
What would you like?
We got a
How
little
can I help you?
automatic voter registration card in the Cracker Jack box. Oh,
Yeah.
you just sign here, Democrat. All right, cool.
Wow. I will say that a lot of the Black community is waking up
Yes.
and seeing that, wait a minute, the Democrats always said that they were for us and voting
Us.
for minorities and whatever. And now they are shipping in all these illegal people who are
Wait a minute.
taking our
There's
jobs and our
Chicago. You
homes.
see it in the west side of Chicago, all the neighborhoods to where there's a lot of pride up there. There really is. I
Mhm.
mean, yeah,
Yeah.
the drugs have caused a lot of problems with the gang and this, but
Right, but
but
there's
you've
still a strong culture
absolutely there's a
of,
strong culture in
yeah.
the communities up there in
Mhm.
Chicago, and they're getting pissed off because they're like, wait a minute,
Yeah,
you're bringing all these people in. They got nowhere to work. They're living in the police station.
I saw
I
that.
mean, and then the homeless people, even if you do the interviews with them, I've seen it. People are like, "Hey, what do you think about this?" Well, I don't want to say too much, but I tell you what, they don't do anything for me, but you kind of see what's happening here, and so you got to think, who's doing it to you? Who's doing it to you, and why are they doing it? You're destroying the communities that have been abused, and incentivized to, have bad behavior, broken families, no father, that kind of thing. Oh, we'll give you handouts for this and that. Now they're like, you just left us out in the cold now, and we're trying to
Mhm.
maintain a community here. We're actually trying to rebuild ourselves. And then, you bring all these people into our neighborhoods and they're getting all kinds of handouts and we're suffering. We're trying to struggle, do the right thing. And, F you. Welcome to the party.
It's crazy, it's crazy, and meanwhile, so there's, fights going on in Canada. I think that the indigenous people, like the Native Americans here in Oklahoma, that issue of the jurisdiction conversation with the tribal lands, there's also another conversation going on in Canada with, their indigenous people or their, what would they be, Native
Natives, I
Canadians?
guess you could
Do they
say. Yeah.
call, I don't know what they call, uh indigenous people, but it's the same kind of thing, and there's like a pipeline issue and that, and so I think that is going to um have the conversation or force the conversation about sovereignty and who. There is a great video, if you guys don't follow Bruce Lipton, go follow. Biology of Belief is his Twitter handle, but then he's on YouTube. Bruce Lipton. I would love to get
He loves
him
you.
and Uncle Cliff in a room, and that's where I told
Wait,
you.
we got to mix it up a little bit. You got to throw Bo Pony in there too.
Not well. He won't show up for this conversation, but he would be welcome. That would be wonderful
It'd be
if he
great.
would show up for that conversation. I think it would be really healthy to have like some.
Let's get it out.
Yeah,
Let's
good
get it all together.
questions. Let's
Yes.
be
Let's
open-minded.
let's hash it
They're
out.
they're all, yeah, really, like, kind, intelligent people. I think that would be a great choice. But, he was talking about, well, first, his nephew does videos with him, which I just his nephew's really great. He's a really smart guy. But they were talking about how, um back caveman. Well, they were talking about Greek tragedy, and he told about Persephone and all that, which
Yes.
you were just teaching your daughter
Yes, I was
about,
just
and you
talking
did
about it.
a video of that. So that I thought that was timely and funny. And
Demeter and Persephone.
Demeter and Persephone, he talked
Persephone,
about
yeah,
that.
and Hades.
Yes, and he talked about the power and control, and there's even like how um government was formed and how they have to have control, and there's always been this narrative of knowledge and how we can't give the people knowledge because
They can't
then
handle it.
you can't control them if they have
Yeah, they might
knowledge.
get off the reservation. They might go off and do their own thing and
Right,
think they're more powerful than we want them to think they are.
right. And we want them to be afraid of something, so the idea of uh hell, and then you have to have the
yes.
solution, which is the church. And well, what are they going to do? They're going to have the body and blood of Christ, which
I got a problem with that. Keep going.
is similar to this drink that they used to do back in the day, which is this like fungus that actually it's kind of like DMT or some kind of um which kind of mimics the, adrenochrome stuff.
Kind of like the
So
oracles. They
anyway,
used to take some kind of drug and see visions. And
yes. So anyway, there's kind of those kind of ritualistic things that, mm, everybody has to figure that out for themselves and have their own opinion. Anyway, this video was really interesting how he walked you through it. And he said this one statement that I was like, man, that nailed it. The Pope is the only person that a king kisses his feet.
yeah,
So who's really in charge? Because he talked about how
yep,
when cavemen were like around or whatever, it used to be that power was controlled by the biggest, baddest, physical
right.
strength.
Might makes
And
right.
military is might makes right, yeah. But then the church learned that knowledge was the power. If you are the if and they learned how to make the church is the benevolent, is the they raised themselves up to be
Sorry.
the unquestionable, undoubtable, to where people even
Infallible.
they even don't trust themselves, they trust the church to set their morality.
Yeah, because I'm a flawed human being.
Yes,
I'm a
because you're of
sinner.
sinful
I'm
nature.
born of ultimate sin,
Yep,
original
you
sin.
are original
I
sin. Yes,
Yes, and this other human being, I'm going to put my faith in this other human
yeah,
being who just like me has original sin, but I trust him more because,
mhm,
he's got the wine and he speaks in a different language I can't
and
understand. He wears all the
God
wardrobe and
picked
all the
him,
and he lives in
and
the
he
big
was
church.
and yes, and the church, and God talks to him, so you can talk to him, and God will talk to for you. Yeah. Anyways, this whole thing and how it's used to control people and
Yeah.
all of this. It was incredible,
Trust
um,
yourself.
when you think about it. So I would just recommend everyone listen to that with an open mind. Um, Pray about it, meditate, think about it,
Absolutely.
do some
Here,
research,
Here's the good thing, Lisa.
come to
You
your
don't
own
need to go to
discretion.
the little box, that you open the door and you sit down in darkness and feel all ashamed. And, this little door slides open and
Neon
confess your
rise.
sins. Listen, you can
Mhm.
go outside and confess your sins. You can look at the sun and confess your sins. You can talk to a tree and confess your sins
Yeah,
because God
God is
created all,
everywhere.
right?
Yeah.
Exactly. You don't even have to leave the house. You can dream about it and confess your sins. You can be lying in bed and just say, you know what?
Or you could just
I'm going
talk
to
to
talk to you
God.
directly.
He
Yeah,
he already
you got a
knows.
direct hotline to
He was
God.
there when you did it.
Yes. Yeah, I mean, you're right there. You don't need to, there's no payphone, there's no
Yeah.
collect calls, there's no donations. It's like, no, you got boom right there. That's all you got to do. And that's
Yeah.
why you got to trust you. Because if you think that God created you and you think that somebody else needs to get between you and the person who created you, that's kind of a problem, I think.
Well, that's the golden calf, right? That's the
That's
idol.
that's the big money. That's the
Well, you have
religious
to
industrial
tithe.
complex.
You have to tithe so that, because apparently God the
Apparently
church
TD
needs
Jakes
money.
with his ministry, that's the Potters, whatever it is, this P.
There
Diddy
you go.
stuff, apparently he needs money to, continue his ministry. to have what
And a
Tyler
private
Perry go up
plane.
there and
Yeah.
and go look up that stuff. Go look up the whole P Diddy thing, Cassie, hashtag Cassie, hashtag TD Jakes, hashtag Potter's Church. Go look up all these things and what's going on and what these people are doing and fleecing you and in the theater that it is. We all know it. Remember the Eddie Murphy movie when he comes over and it's like Soul Glow, and remember
Coming
the
to
whole
America.
God, God,
Sexual chocolate.
yeah, extra chocolate. I mean, it's just like that's what it looks like, though. Jimmy Swaggart, I have sinned. And all these people up there that, we're so forgive them. They
See,
have
that's
sinned.
the thing that I think still that's where I'm like, okay, we're not there yet because
No,
that hasn't been exposed. That
you
hasn't
are
come
your own
down yet.
church. You are a temple of
Mhm.
God. You're directly connected. Why
Right.
are you giving your energy to these people who are corrupt and smiling while they do it? Don't you love it? You see this, these ministers up there,
Joel
they
Osteen.
smile. That's exactly who I was thinking about. Exactly.
Creep.
They smile and they're just, I am blessed. You too shall be blessed. And, because you make a lot of money, it's because God's blessed you. Amen. Give me some more money.
So I watched this thing. It's called like Twin Flame or something weird. And it's like it's about these it's called high mind control or high. Dang it, now I'm not gonna maybe somebody in the chat knows what it's called, but it's like these groups where, like, people go for, like, self-improvement or they're looking
Yeah,
for
little camps.
community or something like that,
Yeah,
and they get them in these, like, classes, and then you
yeah,
have to and it ends up being like this cult kind
yeah.
of
Of
thing.
course it is.
And they tell them and they, like, take all their money, they isolate them from their family, like, it's crazy, and you would not believe how many groups are out there, and some of them, like, are doing, like they're like, "Oh, we're" um, they'll say that they're like, you know, psychics or whatever, or some of them will say that they're multi-level marketing groups, and, "Well, don't call your downline unless they've done this, 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 and this," and they, like, leverage and manipulate people and talk down to them, belittle them, like, it's sick. It is some
You're
sick
not good enough. I mean,
stuff.
you need to do better. You're not, you're really not fulfilling, what the prophecy has said or what is the mission. You're not,
Mhm.
you got to do better.
All of that has to come out too. I think it's starting to, but, that was incredible, like,
Mhm.
I don't know. Yeah, so we still have some dark stuff to walk through that has to be exposed.
Sure.
Um,
And I mean, it really comes down to this. We need to decentralize. I mean, it really, that's what it comes down to. We as
mhm,
individuals need to decentralize and realize that all the power is within us. It's already built, born, we're engineered for it. And I know you go through hard times, you need a support system, this and that. But the thing is, it's just, I mean, you're using an intermediary to fix your problems. You are the medical industrial complex to fix your problems. And what do? They usually don't fix it. A lot of deaths occur when you go to the hospital, accidents. That's a big portion of the deaths in America. And then you start adding up, well, you look at all the disclaimers, like you said, talking about Dr. McDaniel, got to have some toxicity in these things or we can't approve it. I mean, it's all about, it's a death cult. That's really
mhm,
what it is. So why do you want to put yourself in that when it's like, you have all the power inside of you and it's just overcoming those insecurities that have been heaped on you by society, indoctrination. I mean, you're not good enough. Oh, you're not a beautiful model. Oh, you're not smart enough. Oh, you're not this, you're not that. And it's get, peel all that away, let it all just disappear and, get reconnected with who you are and realize that you're here for a reason. You're valuable. I mean, that's what, kind of the American ideal is. It's like every person has individual rights with the exception of the tarnish that we had on the Constitution and how this nation was developed with slavery. I mean,
right.
but that was overcome. But that's a whole nother issue that I could get into.
Was it?
But
I don't think so.
no, I mean, no, we're all
I don't
slaves
think
now.
so.
But
Mhm.
it's like we are all individual sovereign people, and we have to act that way, and we have to take that responsibility and act that way and be that way and live that way, and know that we are not just some thing that one time crawled out of the ocean, with one cell organism
No,
that crawled out of the ocean and became
ridiculous.
this,
Yeah.
and rose up. And no, give me a break.
Yeah.
All crap. And that may all be coming out. That may be the whole Cliff High Bull Pony thing. I mean, maybe a lot of these things are going to start revealing themselves, and all of the mental
I do
enslavement that
wish
we've
they would
had.
have a conversation.
I know,
I wish there
because there's
was,
truth on both sides.
yeah, because I felt like that went like it should have not it should have. It's not my place to have an opinion about that, but I wish that it had been handled in a little more gentlemanly way to have a conversation, but I didn't see every interaction,
No,
so it just seemed like it went, like,
it went ballistic real quick,
real quick,
real
and I was
quick,
like,
and then
"Wait a
everybody's
minute,
piling on.
why are we not, like, open to having a
Again, it's
conversation?"
it's not you against me; it's us against them. Whoever
Yeah,
they are.
and anytime there's an opportunity for, like, the greater good to learn from 2 people having a
Yeah,
conversation, like, I'm okay with being wrong, I'm wrong a lot. But
absolutely. It's a
I
search for
love to
truth.
ask questions, and I wanna go sit in a room with somebody else who thinks differently than me. It may be uncomfortable. I may learn from it. I may because even if I go away from it still thinking that I don't agree with them,
You're gonna think.
I'm gonna
You're
think,
gonna
and
think.
I may challenge myself to process a little harder. They may ask me something that I have to, like, dig in on, "Okay, well, wait, why do I think that way?"
Mhm.
Or, "Where am I on that?" You know?
Right.
And if you're not willing to, like, be challenged in your beliefs, then do you how much do you really believe that? You
I know.
know?
And that's
How
just it.
I don't
I don't
know.
know. I see that unwinding, and I see that with other people. I see some people, here's what could happen. You're going to have people that go off the cliff, com- no pun intended. I mean, really none.
I would never
But,
go off the cliff.
it's spelled differently, so
Yeah.
we're good. But if you go off the cliff, as far as they're going to go all in on what they've always believed, right or wrong, just because that's all they want to deal with at this point. And then you
Well,
have
that's
other
that
people.
cognitive dissonance or
It really
whatever.
is. It
Mhm.
really is. And then you have other people who
Dissonance.
are,
Sorry.
there are other people who are going to say, oh, yeah, things are, there is this information I didn't know about, and I'm willing to learn. I'm willing to look at it. I'm willing to think that maybe there is a Sasquatch out there. I'm willing, I got to throw that in there. Drink Sasquatch. It's a drinking game. Every time Westwood
So,
says
yeah,
that.
I'm coming up with a drinking game for
So there
hash
you
it
go. There
out,
it is.
but
Yeah.
it'll be for hash it out. Yeah.
Yeah. Not here, because we don't need any help on happy hour.
I'm gonna have, like, a bingo card or
Hmm.
something.
Yeah. So, I mean, it comes down to, if you really think you're in the great awakening, the great awakening period. Man, it's because of these. The great awakening period, you have to awaken in yourself and start questioning everything, and start looking at what is true.
Mhm.
Are some of the beliefs that I've always held maybe not the healthiest things? I mean, you think about it. If you lived 2,000 years ago and you sacrifice people, you know, oh, we're going to sacrifice these babies, these kids, and these women, whatever it is, to serve our God. You're looking at it like, why do I have to give them? Why, and you question that kind of thing. And if that kind of mentality, if that kind of flavor still persists, I mean, is that really helpful? Is that really a good thing? I mean, put yourself in that position. If you're the one, well, at least it wasn't me. You know, you got to rethink all that and think: is it positive? Is it a good? Is it a good thing for you? Is it a good thing for that person going forward? Just because it's tradition, does that mean it's right? It's like putting up a Christmas tree. Does anybody know what that means?
I
Go look it
forgot what
up, search it up.
I
You know what I
forgot what
mean?
that meant,
What's the
yeah.
Yule log? I talked about it. What's the Yule log mean? Okay, oh, we're gonna watch the Yule log.
It's
Well,
some
what's it
there
mean?
is a comp, and I was trying to think of this the other day. I was like, "Oh my gosh, the Yule log." That's back when Public and I were doing shows, and there was a comm about the Yule log, and it was about cake, and there was a whole Q comm about Yule log, cake, and it was around Christmas, and it was when Trump was, delivering all the gold all over the world and the Christmas trees. And I can't remember, I can't put it all together again. Like, we've had 3 years of the great infection and the fog, and I'm tired and I can't remember now. Like,
And that's it. There's just so much inundation of information,
yeah.
and that's why it's so important when you get inundated with this stuff. When it gets to you, when it's like I can't even remember. That's why I always tell you, Lisa, I've forgotten more than I've ever learned. I mean,
Mhm.
because I mean, you've got so much information that transforms you and makes you who you are, but you don't even remember what it was, but you've internalized it, and it's like I am who I am because what I've learned. Well, what did you learn? I can't even remember all of it, but I know that it all made me who I am today, and all the experiences. And it's just like I can't go back and hash all that out for you. I'm sorry. I wish I could, and if I were a better teacher, I would be able to do that. But I can't do it.
Right.
And I am who I am, and accept me for that. And if something I say resonates with you, then it's like, okay, that's truth. I mean, like boom, it hits you, at a frequency level.
Yeah.
So I mean, it's just you can't let yourself get beat up by that. But it is so much information to where it's or data, I guess, as Cliff would say, because he'd beat me in the head. He's done that before, in a chat to where I said too much information. He's like, it's not information, it's really data. I'm like, okay, yeah,
Mm,
it's not informing people, it's just data. Like, too much,
interesting.
too many things like that. But there's so much data out there. There's so much, things that you can, be influenced by that you got to pick and choose. And ultimately, there's so much that you have to know internally that you got to have that instinct, that spidey sense, that gut feeling, that trust yourself thing that I always talk about. That does it feel right or does it not feel right? You meet somebody and they're like, that's a salesman. He's just trying to sell me something. He's not looking out for my best interest,
Right.
or this person's genuine. I mean, yeah, you get it. And Javi talks about this a lot. I'm a good judge of people. It's like, I know right away. You've got to have that. You got to have that sense. And, when there's somebody speaking truth and not speaking BS, they don't have an agenda. They're just like, I'm just trying to tell you the truth. I'm just trying to tell you what I know, and I'm spilling it all out. And they're like, okay, yeah, I feel your passion and I feel where you're coming from. And then you internalize that. And it's just all about you at this point, not in a negative way, but you are the person. You are on this journey. You have come here for a reason. And don't 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 get yourself off task. Don't get yourself off the path that you're supposed to be on, because you will regret it, by not, following your path, and saying, well, shit, I did that because that person said that. Jim Cramer told me not to buy Litecoin.
Oh
Jim
God.
Cramer told me not to buy Bitcoin,
Yeah.
and you know what I mean? And it's like, don't blame somebody else. It's not somebody else's fault. It's your fault. You got to follow your path. I knew I should have done that. How many times people said it? I knew I should have done that. Knew I should have
A
done it.
lot. I
Then
think a
do it.
lot.
Then
Yeah.
do it, and
Then
just
do it.
F the consequences. Who
Yeah.
cares? It's
Well,
yours.
and
Own
it's
it.
the shame
Own it and
thing
embrace it.
that people are embarrassed or worried about being
I talk about Litecoin all
wrong.
the time. You know how many times people try to shame me? It's like, oh,
Yeah.
$70 and you're an idiot. You should have bought Solana. And I'm just like, I don't believe in Solana.
Yeah. As many
I
times as people are bragging about things, I promise you they've been wrong twice as much
absolutely.
as what they've been right about.
Just speak
And
your truth and own your truth,
yeah,
and live with it.
yeah.
That's it.
And
All right.
Charlie always says, because Carly had a tournament last weekend, and we babysat the grand dogs, and she was,
Love the grand dogs. Love the
yes, we
dogs.
love the grand dogs, and she was fighting these girls in Tulsa, and she's a blue belt with a couple stripes now, and she's like amazing, and she came back and she was real hard on herself. She's like, "Oh, I only got like I think she got second and then third in the tournament, and she wanted to do more or whatever." And he was like, "Well, you win or you learn." And I think if more of us thought about that and embraced the learning, even about information, like there's stuff like when I go sit on the even watching you guys with hash it out, there's things that I'm listening and some of it I don't catch or unpack or understand, but like I'm learning and I'm willing to like sit in a place of not understanding, not being the smartest person at the table because I want to learn. I want to grow. I go to the WBRT thing, and sometimes I have information they don't have, or I'm sharing something with them, but a lot of times I'm learning,
Yeah.
and I'm
You
growing,
let go
and
of the
I can
ego.
share that information with my community, you
Yeah,
know?
you don't have to be right. I mean, you
Yeah,
let go of the ego and you're just like, that's why sometimes I'll shut up. I just won't talk because I'm like, I don't know. I really don't want to say anything. But when I do talk, it's like, this is what I believe. And I don't care what anybody else thinks. But there are times where I'll just shut down and you're like, why aren't you talking? It's just because I'm listening and trying to absorb it, and I don't know the answer. I want to know the answer, and it frustrates me. So I have to ponder on it. I have to step back, and maybe I got to go out and walk the dogs and really get my
right.
head around it because sometimes I'm slow on certain things. And so yeah, I probably have some kind of learning disability that's undiagnosed. But you know what? I ain't gonna go get some
It's just a
handout.
different way of learning,
Yeah,
yeah.
it's just I have to get my head around it and absorb it. And then once I do, then it becomes a part of me. But I don't have to argue every single freaking point. I don't know. And I'm just not going to talk about it because I don't know.
Yeah,
And that's where we have to be. We just have to, once you internalize it though, and then it becomes a part of you, and then you can change your life accordingly. And it's like, okay, this benefits me. Yes, this is a better path. But you have to really feel that and know that, and it's up to you to whatever pace it is. It doesn't have to be right now. Somebody says, well, you need to decide now. It's like, no, I can't decide now. I can't because my mind, whatever, is not, no. And so you have to just be you. you know we all do it at a different pace. We have a different path, and it's your path to follow. It's your path to walk.
I love it. We definitely have that path to walk, and, old Klaus Schwabe has a path to walk right out the door.
Yeah, right off the
He's
plank.
stepping down. This is good news for us. Like, this does show me we're getting to the end of the war. I feel like he is stepping down from chairman of the WEF.
Mm.
Why do we even have a WEF? F the WEF.
Yes.
We don't need a WEF.
WEFU.
Yeah, WEFU.
You, in
Get them the
parentheses.
WEF out of here. We don't need a WEF.
Get the WEF out.
Get the WEF out. We can make all the shirts with that. Like, we just did like 3, I think.
Hmm.
Okay. Um, there was some other good news. There was that. There was the Trump stuff. There was what
We got
other
the
good
Red
news?
Sea. We got the Red Sea closing down. I made a note of that.
Oh, what's significant? Tell
The
me
Red
that.
Sea, with the shipping lanes, the big carriers are not going through the Red Sea because there are people on different areas, in that whole passage of the Red Sea, the Sinai Peninsula, the canal there, to where it saves trips to boats might get fired on. So we got to go around Cape of Good Hope, in south of Africa to take
Oh,
goods. And I mean, I watched an interview with somebody in the shipping companies, the big shippers, and it doesn't have as much of an impact as you think. It's like, instead of a 25-hour journey or 25-day journey, it's a 34-day journey. So it does add 9 days.
okay.
It does add maybe a few $1,000s to the shipping cost. It's really not that significant. So to me, it's almost like it's hysterical news again, to
Oh,
where,
okay.
yeah, it's much more convenient to go through there. But if you got people at war and pirates and all this stuff, then it does not justify the US sending a military force over there to guard it. And I think that might be the agenda. Okay, well, they're shutting down commerce. Well, I mean, you just do the old school way and go around Africa. It does not require multiple hundreds of billions of dollars to send forces over there that'll be at the ready if something else happens. you know so I don't know that that's that big of a deal.
Interesting. And I wanted to touch on this story real quick, because last night I appreciate you guys asking Steak. Just because he's in the Netherlands, I really wanted his perspective on this. The I saw this pop up that Poland had fallen, and they were seizing the media. Um, and so, like, I guess they had like a military takeover. Is that what
In
he was saying?
Poland?
Yes. You were there when I asked Steak about it.
It, yeah,
Last
I
night.
know, but okay. I don't know enough. Again, I can't
Okay.
comment.
So he was trying to explain this to me.
All I know, though, just interrupt. All I
Okay.
know is that some beautiful ladies come out of Poland, Polish ancestry.
I think you're correct. My
Just saying.
mother is mostly Polish.
There you go. Validates my point.
That's
All
right.
right, continue.
Kryptoniana is Polish. So that was very interesting to me. So we'll see where that goes. Oh, that was more of my research that I was digging into. Okay, this is something else. So as the banks fail, Elon created a bank, X.com, in 1999.
Yep.
Um, it was an online bank. He had X.com way before he ever bought Twitter.
Yep.
It was going to be the everything. Now he's made Twitter X. We know the banks are getting close to failing, or we're hearing that the bond is at like 3 point something percent. Um,
It's like
China,
high threes.
high threes. Yeah,
Yeah.
3.8 something, I think,
Yeah. Mhm.
for a 10-year bond. Um, there's a great interview with Jim Willie on my channel from, I don't know, a week or two ago. And then he was just on with John Claude the other day, talking about a bunch of information, basically saying like that the banks have to go down first, um, under Sleepy Joe. So that's
Mhm.
going to happen. He said no later than June. So we'll see what happens on that. That was his information. Um, but they've talked about this blackout satellite, whatever. They're that sleuth guy, the boring sleuth guy.
Yeah.
Um, they have all kinds of, and we've talked about this for a couple weeks now. They have all this like on-chain data about
Ethereum.
tracking
On
tracking
Ethereum.
on Ethereum, yeah, like
Yeah.
ETHgate stuff and all this, and tracking all this money. You guys can check into it, but there's apparently like some people are talking about doing an investigation on Ericsson Telecom and how they might be connected, and that our satellites might be infiltrated. And so hypothetically, like, could they take down or have to take down a whole satellite system? And then Trump said in a speech a while back that we were all getting new phones. I think he said by Christmas, or maybe it was end of the year. I don't remember, but around
Yeah, it was close. I
or
mean, close
for
to where we're at
Christmas,
now.
something like that. Getting new phones. Maybe it was for. I don't know. I don't remember the exact wording, but and then he said, "So could we all get new Tesla phones and hook up?" And Elon always says, "We're going to Mars. We're going to Mars. We're going to Mars." Well, does that mean that Mars Tesla satellite system, could we switch over to Starlink and with our Tesla phones and dump the old system
I
and
think
then
that's
use the military money system?
so many things popping off. The dendrites and the synapses are going right now.
Yeah.
Okay, so just the other day, Space Force is fully prepared. Well, I don't know what the language was. It's fully ready, fully operational, I think
Yep.
was the word.
Hmm.
Just the other day. And then Trump is always Space Force, very important, more important than that kind of thing. And I'm like, okay, so that's the one
And
narrative
we have
of
everything and all of that.
yeah, right, and all that. And then I just retweeted something today by RFK. He had a speech, that CNN took out of context, because he used
Shocking.
yeah, I know. He used the analogy that, and they completely beat him up on it and said, "Oh my gosh, you're comparing today, and what's going on today to Nazi Germany and Anne Frank being in it, and this and that." And so I watched the whole thing. So I retweeted his whole speech, and it was like the beginning of 2022. And he said, listen, we're going to be enslaved. They're going to give us a digital currency. They're going to have, all these low orbit satellites to where they can watch everything. Bill Gates has talked about having 65,000 satellites where he can watch every square inch of the earth, and be able to zoom in on everything. So it's totalitarian control. And he's calling that out. And so I think, if you put all this together, this whole, gob of information, to where Trump talking about space force, this and that. It's a war in the air. It's a war above the planet as far as information, because terrestrially they can cut things, they can do this, they can cut you off, you have internet difficulties, this and that. But if you've got this satellite system, it matters who controls it. Or are there multiple people or forces controlling it? Are there good people controlling, maybe Tesla, and maybe Elon's got, with his Starlink, maybe that's the good guy system. And,
Mhm.
and then you've got the Bill Gates system, and then you got that, whatever it is.
And we
But
have the Roger app that is banking the
yeah,
military,
right.
and we have
And
the
it's this
ITMs that
techno
gets
war that we're now in, is
sent
basically what it
coins.
comes down to. And
Mhm.
it's going to be a tool for good or evil. It's just, who's going, and I think that's how RFK said, it's like, hey, all this technology, it just depends. If you've got somebody who's bad with bad intentions that comes in and starts using this stuff, they will enslave you.
So
I
just
mean,
like a gun can be used for good or evil, it's a
absolutely.
tool
These
that can be
tools
used for good or evil.
are much more advanced than we realize, I think. And I think that's the most important thing, that you're being watched, you're being surveilled, everything you do is being tracked and traced. And
Mhm.
ultimately, at the end of the RFK speech, he said, what do you do about it? And he said, resist. And
Literally, Mars is about, knowing everyone in the community. There's another
in other words,
definition
don't participate and don't
of
give your
Mars.
energy to it.
Yeah.
Resist, pull back. No, I'm not going to
Mhm.
use this. I'm not going to do it. But go ahead.
Yeah. There's another definition of Mars where it's, like, assessing each individual, knowing their strengths in the community of, like, who's the fighter, and like you said earlier, like, who is the
Who's the
military?
military? Who's the
Us.
military? Us. It's you who
Mhm.
volunteers. And what are they going to do? I'm telling you, Dick Durbin brought it up. Other people have brought it up. I said
Man,
it
I got the
before that.
chill.
They are going to use these young men who are coming into this country to become the new military. That's what they're going to do. They're going
The
to make
bad
them
guys, you mean.
Americans. Yeah, well, it could be. I mean, they're going to use them to be the new military, because, enough people will wake up, enough patriotic people are going to wake up and say, I'm not serving this anymore. I will not don the uniform. I will not put it on and serve your evil interests. You're not going to mind control me anymore and put all these things in my body and make me do these things anymore. And, you see military enrollment going down because people are like, I said, I'm
And
done.
they
I'm
did
just
that
done.
in
I'm
World
done.
War II. They recruited immigrants,
And it's been
and
a common thing throughout
it
history.
has.
The Hessians, they used to be this mercenary force that you'd hire and pay them in gold or
Mhm.
silver. You got to pay them in sound money, otherwise, they ain't going to fight. Um, and it's that's what they're going to do, because it's the same old playbook. They're going to take somebody outside the country and say, hey, listen, we'll give you all these benefits. You go fight for us. I mean, so it's kind of a common theme going through, and it's
You
like,
know
let them all in, let's nationalize them all, let's make them all. They're going to get all the glory, they're going to get all the citizenship, the medals, and all this stuff. You go do all our bidding, wherever we want you to do it, and you'll be special.
Crazy.
That's why it's so important that we have what's called the Second Amendment, and understanding what that Second Amendment is, because it's ultimately it comes down to protecting your land, your property, your rights, and you just got to understand what that means and what the real spirit of that is.
Yeah, I gotta get
I'm
some
going to
more.
have an army of Sasquatches and dogmen. If I can make friends with them, I think I'm good. But I don't know if I can do that. They might eat me first.
Dog man.
Dogmen, go look into that.
I thought it
These
was
national parks.
Mothman.
I've a Mothman, yeah, in West Virginia. I've looked at these national parks, and and this just kind of, I spit this out a couple of weeks ago. There's something about the national parks. This ties into the cliff stuff. I mean, we're worried about all these aliens being off planet, and then we saw something from, I don't know what, one of these websites, that said, hey, we, the Elohim, the Nephilim, whatever it is. It's like, hey, we never left. And you see all these stories of these craft going into oceans and coming out of caves and coming underground. You got all these stories, bird going to Antarctica or North Pole, whichever axis it was. But there's all these stories and all this lore. You think of the Time Machine, you think of H.G. Wells, like over 100 years ago in the 1800s, he wrote this book about the Elohim. It's in the future, but the Elohim live on Earth, and they're all innocent. Oh, but there's the Morlocks that live beneath the Earth, and they take the people from the Earth and feed on them. And it's like there's this theme that goes on throughout history and literature that there are people living in the earth. I mean, there all are these weird things, these beings, these things that are in the earth. Are those the aliens? Are those this other force that we're not aware of? You look at missing not 411, to where all these people get lost in national forests, national parks, and you think, are these areas that the government has, or the powers that be, the vampires have set aside as sanctuaries and gateways and for all the things that are woo?
Well, so
Is that
there,
where the things are happening? Is there something going on inside the earth and it's not out there? It's not an external threat, it's an internal threat, and they've always been here.
so
I'm just throwing it
Hollow
out
Earth.
there. That's another thing. Yeah.
That's
And
another
then you got
thing.
the Baron Trump thing, with the underground journey, and all that.
Right.
There's
There's
something to that that's not quite hashed out yet.
right. There's a story about them turning the national parks into tent cities for the illegal immigrants
Or maybe
because
feeding zones.
the illegal aliens. Oh, well, I don't know.
I don't know. Yeah, I don't know.
But then, in Cliff's data, by this spring, we're supposed to all be like walking off government jobs and getting together in groups and meeting at national parks, which I thought about. Now that you're homeschooling too, we could take the kids and do meetups at national parks, freedom meetups at national parks, and do like make them educational and stuff.
Yeah, I
Might be
mean,
fun. They found one of the biggest diamonds at Arkansas
it was in Arkansas. Yeah.
National Park just this last week. I think it was like 5 or 6 carat white diamond. So the last one that was found before that was bigger, but it was a brown diamond, so it wasn't like as
It wasn't
desirable.
pretty.
But this one was like clear white diamond that was just found at the Arkansas State Park. Or was it a national park? Is it a state park or a national park? Ooh, that might be
That'd
a
be
good
something to look at. I mean,
question.
somebody needs to do research on that. What's the difference between national parks and state parks? I mean, is there a
Mhm.
difference between missing people, sightings, pinpoint? This is a research project. If you're going to go to college, this is something to get into. You know,
Very interesting. Yeah, that would be interesting to see, like, to chart that and see what the difference is, in coincidences.
caves, tunnels, are they connected? You
Uh-huh.
look at Kentucky, you look at Missouri, you look at Arkansas, you look at all these things, are they all connected? I mean, there's a lot of things that come out of the underground. There's a lot of stories, a lot of mythology, things coming out of the ground, living in these places. You just can't deny that. There's just too much information out there now, and it's all coming out that it is the Great Awakening. I mean, it really is.
Mhm.
And you have to trust people that, they tell you stories of what they have seen and what they have experienced, and you can't. Well, how do you quantify that? What box do you put that in? I mean, or you just say, nah, it's all bunk, and you just live your life and trust the vampire system because it's done so well.
I mean, if you're not learning, like, why are you here? And you're not growing or helping others, I don't understand, like, if you're just, like, wearing out your battery or your meat suit until you go away, like, that's gotta be just
Just
miserable.
phase
I
out like
can't
a shooting
imagine that
star.
existence. Yeah. I can't imagine that existence. So, um, I want to tell everybody thanks and Merry Christmas. Even though this may be our last Christmas that we believe in the way that we currently believe, I hope we're always learning and growing, and I hope every Christmas is different, um, at least a little bit different. I hope we're always challenging ourselves to learn and grow
Yeah.
and change.
Before we go, I want to give a big shout out. Miss Teen Crypto for the third or fourth time was on Charles Payne on Fox Business today. I mean, talk about somebody we've watched grow up.
Yeah.
And
He's
you knew she
amazing.
always had the passion, and that's what it comes down to. And they talked about college today. Why are these college professors crazy? And and she had the points like, that's why I didn't go to college. They wanted me to go to college for finance, and it's like, no, I'm going to learn about finance. And so
Mhm.
she learned about crypto, and that's what she talks about. She's gained a big audience because she talks truth. She does the research on her own. She trusts herself. She trusted herself, and I'm so proud of her. And everything she's done. So I just want to give her a big shout out. um Great
Yeah.
father who's supportive. I mean, we knew
Yeah,
him
she's
before we knew her.
amazing girl, amazing family, and, the community got behind her really strong and supported her, and that's what you can see, like, that's what happens when the community comes together is, she put the work in, the community got behind her, and that's what happens.
And
So,
she'll do
really
great
proud of
things
her.
that I can't do, and you can't do, and other
Yes,
people can't do,
that's
because
right.
she's got a different path, and here she
Um,
is, and
and
she's
she's
doing so
really
well.
passionate, and she puts the work
Yep.
in. I mean,
Exactly, and that's
she
what it
really
takes.
puts the
It's
work in.
every day has a show,
Mhm.
every day, and it's just educates herself constantly. And I mean, she's got more education than any $50,000 a year college in the Ivy League could ever teach about finance. I mean, give me a break.
Right.
And she's assured of herself, and she knows who she is, and so that's what it takes. Everybody needs to do the same thing. You need to trust yourself. You need to follow your path. You cannot let other people dictate to you who you are. You know who you are. Express it. That's what you're here for. Express it in what you've been given, and do the best you possibly can. And that way, there's nothing, you've left nothing behind. You've given it all. And that's what you need to do. That's really what it is.
Absolutely. All right. Well, we'll be back next week. There is I'm trying to think. I know. Are we doing a spaces tonight? Maybe.
Are we?
I don't know. I know you've got family home.
I can do it. It's up to you if you want to jump in, and if anybody else wants. Hey, hit one if you let's do this again. Hit one if you want Westwood to do spaces on Twitter tonight. Hit two if you
Okay,
don't care. Hit three if it's an absolute
we'll
no and you're
see.
sick and tired of me saying it.
We'll see. We'll see. I've got one meeting, and then I know Untold History Channel. That's another guy that I would love to do a show with.
Graham Hancock.
Ron Partain.
Yeah.
Um, he's I think he's a Marine, and he is really brilliant, very passionate about the Constitution, and he's a fighter. Like I really have a lot of respect for him. So
You
uh,
got to fight. I mean, and that's what it
mhm.
comes down to.
I
You got
think
to
that's where
fight.
we are right now.
Yeah. I
Is
mean,
that's what it's
in
time to
fighting,
stand up.
fighting can just be making a video or having a channel
Yeah,
just talking your truth. It doesn't have to be, it's not, we're in an information war. We're in a war for your mind.
yeah,
That's really what it is. And so you've got to put your truth out there. And, if you get 5 followers, whatever, those are 5 people that, need to hear the message. And if you change one person's life, you've succeeded. I mean, you really have. And you just don't belittle yourself. Don't think
right.
that you have nothing to offer, because you have a lot to offer, and you have to do it. You have to offer it. Otherwise, you'll be in the dustbin of history. And then you don't want to be that.
That's right. Yeah. So we will see you guys on Spaces. It looks like we have a bunch of ones in the chat. And welcome, Marianne. We're glad to see you. Um, hopefully you'll be on Spaces with us too. So
Yes. Go to
all right,
Twitter, get on Spaces,
get on
follow Clint
Spaces.
Westwood,
Follow
hit the
ClintWestwood.com.
notification bell, and then you'll get notified.
All right.
Trust yourselves, love one another, and everything will be okay, because you are a divine being, and you have all the keys, all the tools that you need. It's embedded in your DNA, and just know that you're on the right path. Trust yourself, trust your gut. You're connected to everything that's greater than anything they tell you about, and just be who you are. Be who
Give
you're born to
somebody
be.
a big hug this Christmas.
Hugs
And
are
yes,
important,
and
so
enjoy your
important.
time with the people that you love and that choose to spend time with you. That's what's important. So,
It is.
all right. Love to you all. We'll see you guys next time.